On the morning of December 26, 1996, the affluent University Hill neighborhood of Boulder, Colorado was quiet. Inside a sprawling 5-bedroom Tudor mansion, that quiet was about to shatter. At 5:52 a.m., Patsy Ramsey dialed 911. In a frantic, breathless call, she reported her 6-year-old daughter, JonBenét's, missing. She also told the dispatcher she had found a 3-page ransom note left on the kitchen staircase. When patrol officers arrived, they failed to execute basic crime scene preservation. Instead of evacuating the premises and taping off the perimeter, they allowed family friends and victim advocates to enter the home and roam freely, irreparably altering footprints and trace evidence on the floors. This house had a complex, labyrinthine subterranean level. To reach the mold-prone wine cellar where JonBenét's was eventually found, an individual would have to navigate through the dark, pass a model train room, and move through a single door located inside a boiler room. The spaces did not share a contiguous wall. At 1 p.m., a detective instructed John Ramsey to search the house for anything unusual. He went straight to the basement and discovered his daughter's body in that hidden wine cellar. He immediately pulled a piece of duct tape from her mouth, attempted to untie her wrists, and carried her upstairs to the living room. By moving her, John Ramsey denied forensic pathologists the ability to photograph the victim in situ. Crucial data regarding rigor mortis, the pooling of blood, and the microscopic distribution of trace materials on the basement floor were destroyed instantly. The initial 48 hours saw the destruction of so much biological and spatial data that the investigation remains at an impasse. The line between the actual crime and its subsequent staging was permanently blurred. Before the body was found, police treated the incident as a kidnapping. But the ransom note left behind contradicts the established behavioral profile of a rapid home invasion extraction. This is a graphic analyzing the 370-word handwritten demand. Drafting a letter of this length requires a steady hand and 20 to 30 minutes on site, a bizarre level of comfort for an anxious intruder. The text lifts dialogue directly from Hollywood thrillers like Speed and Ruthless People, and the demand for exactly $118,000 perfectly matched the net amount of John Ramsey's annual corporate bonus. The mechanical complexity of the murder weapon also baffled investigators. The garrote deeply embedded in the child's neck was intricately double-knotted to a wooden handle. That handle was a broken segment of a paintbrush sourced directly from Patsy Ramsey's art supplies. This chart maps out the physiological timeline established by neuropathologists. JonBenét's sustained a massive 8.5-inch linear skull fracture from blunt force trauma. But she remained alive, likely unconscious, for anywhere from 45 minutes to nearly 2 hours before the strangulation occurred. The autopsy also revealed partially digested pineapple in her small intestine. Photographs showed a bowl of pineapple, bearing the fingerprints of Patsy and 9-year-old son, Burke. Yet the parents swore JonBenét's was asleep the entire time after returning from a Christmas party. These highly anomalous artifacts forced detectives into an impossible corner. They either had to believe an incredibly stealthy intruder sought down to write a cinematic essay and build a weapon out of household crafts, or they had to conclude a family was desperately covering up a domestic accident. The combination of extreme wealth, pageant videos of a 6-year-old girl in heavy makeup, and a Christmas Day murder generated a voracious 24-hour tabloid storm. Behind the scenes, the investigation tore itself apart. Boulder police focused strictly on staging evidence, solidifying around the theory the Ramseys were responsible. Meanwhile, the district attorney's office reviewed the exact same files and adopted the intruder theory. This conflict climaxed in 1999. A grand jury reviewed the forensics for over a year and voted to officially indict both John and Patsy Ramsey for child abuse resulting in death. But District Attorney Alex Hunter refused to sign the indictment, unilaterally suppressing the grand jury's findings from the public for 14 years. Hunter and his team pointed to physical anomalies the police minimized: an open grate leading to a broken basement window and a footprint from a high-tech boot found in the mold of the wine cellar. Because the institutions weaponized the compromised evidence against one another rather than objectively analyzing it together, reaching the legal standard of proof beyond a reasonable doubt became an absolute impossibility. After nearly 3 decades of relentless police interrogation, handwriting analysis, and intense public scrutiny, the entire case now rests on microscopic biology. In 1997, analysts extracted a minute trace of male DNA mixed with the victim's blood on her clothing. By 2008, highly sensitive touch DNA analysis yielded a profile consistent with that original sample. Investigators designated this individual Unknown Male Number 1, or UM1. This data grid visualizes the current problem. The genetic profile developed for UM1 is a short tandem repeat, or STR, profile. It compares 13 to 20 specific loci against known criminal offenders in the FBI's CODIS database. CODIS is the National DNA Index System used to link violent crimes. After scanning over 1.6 million profiles, it has yielded 0 matches. The modern hope lies in investigative genetic genealogy, or IgG. By sequencing tens of thousands of data points and cross-referencing them with open-source ancestry databases, forensic scientists can build a reverse family tree, potentially narrowing the suspect pool to a specific family line. But there is a severe operational risk. The remaining DNA sample is exceedingly small and highly degraded. The testing required for IgG is destructive. If the sequencing fails, the biological evidence is consumed forever with no guarantee of a result. Recognizing this immense pressure, the Boulder Police Department handed the case to a cold case review team. Chief Stephen Redfern recently confirmed that after digitizing 1 million pages of evidence, the state is secretly retesting physical artifacts with modern technology. The failures in the Ramsey home are now used in forensic training to demonstrate how the loss of microscopic data in the first 24 hours can derail an inquiry for decades. Any future resolution now depends on whether cutting-edge DNA sequencing can finally overcome the procedural mistakes of 1996.